2 weeks remain in the 2021 college football regular season, and today, as we head into Week 12, I'll be giving you guys my updated college football bowl projections for this 2021 season. And that said, a lot of things can happen in the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of changes in what these projections are here today for Week 12. But this is where I think things stand as we head into the second to last week of this regular season. So let's go ahead and get into it with your general bowl games. Cure Bowl is going to be Coastal Carolina and East Carolina, Bahamas Bowl, Miami, Ohio, and UTEP, Boca Raton Bowl, Nevada and Liberty, New Mexico Bowl, Air Force and Middle Tennessee, Independence Bowl's one of the big ones there, BYU and UTSA, one of the bigger bowl games for teams outside of the Power 5. That should be an interesting one there, especially if UTSA remains undefeated. That would be a good bowl game for them going up against a talented BYU team. New Orleans Bowl, we got South Alabama, UAB, Lending Tree Bowl, Kent State and Georgia State. LA Bowl, we got San Diego State and USC. USC being out of the Pac-12, going up against a talented San Diego State team that is ranked right now. Myrtle Beach Bowl, App State and Western Michigan. Frisco Bowl, Eastern Michigan, Fresno State. Idaho Potato Bowl, Ball State, Boise State. And Armed Forces Bowl, Army and Western Kentucky. Gasparilla Bowl, we got Marshall and Boston College. Hawaii Bowl, Utah State and UCF. Cameli Bowl, Northern Illinois. The MAC, they actually just won their division this past week, so we'll see how they do in the conference championship. But for now, I've got them in Cameli Bowl against Louisiana. Quick Lane Bowl, Memphis and Charlotte. Military Bowl, Wyoming and Washington. Birmingham Bowl, Houston and Florida. That would be an interesting one there. Of course, Florida probably, I've got them getting up to 6 wins right now, so they'll be 6-6 heading into bowl season. Kind of a weird season for Florida. I mean, who would have expected that they'd have 6 losses this season? But it's just been a tough go at it for them the past few weeks. But I still have them in a decent bowl game against a good football team in Houston. First Responder Bowl, Virginia Tech and Florida Atlantic. We got Texas Tech, Auburn, and the Liberty Bowl. Texas Tech, I like that football team. They're pretty underrated. They're a dark horse in the Big 12 for sure. And Auburn, of course, now has got 4 losses, I believe, on the season. But Auburn is still a very talented team, so that would be a fun game there. TCU Maryland in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Then we got North Carolina, Washington State in the Holiday Bowl. That one's a tough one to predict there because you got, North Carolina, the ACC. It could be like 4 different teams from the ACC in the Holiday Bowl right now. But Washington State, I like them to go to the Holiday Bowl right now. Cheez-It Bowl is going to be Miami and Iowa State. Fenway Bowl, Louisville and SMU. Moving on to some higher profile games here. We got Pinstripe Bowl, Virginia and Minnesota. Alamo Bowl, we got Arizona State and Baylor. Baylor, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State, all 3 of those teams in the Big 12. Certainly, it's very tough to predict all 3 of those teams because potentially, if we get a team in the top 4 of the Big 12, we easily could see Baylor and Oklahoma both in the Year 6 bowl games as well. But as of right now, I think we see 2 teams from the Big 12 in the New Year's 6 bowl games. It's just a matter of which ones. But I got Baylor as the 3rd team in the Big 12 in the Alamo Bowl against Arizona State. Sun Devils are also a very good team that I think some people are overlooking. So, yeah, that'd be a fun game there. Penn State, Tennessee in the Music City Bowl. And some of you guys may wonder why Penn State is in that game. I've got Penn State projecting out to have 5 losses in the regular season here. So that would put them at 7-5 heading into bowl season and going up against a 6-6 or 7-5 Tennessee team. It would be very reasonable. Penn State just has not been able to win their big games this season, so that's why they're one of the lower bowl games. But still, good matchup against Tennessee. NC State, Arkansas in the Mayo Bowl. We got Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Bowl is Oregon State and Purdue. Purdue's looking good. Gator Bowl, Kentucky, Wake Forest. We got Sun Bowl, Clemson, and UCLA. Arizona Bowl, Central Michigan and Troy. And then Texas Bowl, Kansas State, and Mississippi State. Moving on to your bigger bowl games here, we got the Citrus Bowl and the Outback Bowl. Then we'll get on to our New Year's 6 bowl games. Iowa and Ole Miss. I've got these 2 teams in the Citrus Bowl here. Iowa I got projecting out to finish out as 2nd team in the Big Ten West. So I do not have them going to the Big Ten Championship. I've got Wisconsin going, but Iowa still should be in either the Citrus or the Outback Bowl. And Ole Miss, of course, is also looking very good right now. Ole Miss potentially could be a candidate for a New Year's 6 bowl game too. Ole Miss is definitely worthy of that, but we'll have to see what happens down the stretch here. Outback Bowl, I got Wisconsin, Big Ten West champion against Texas A&M, and it's tough to put Wisconsin here because if Wisconsin does make it to the Big Ten championship as I'm projecting right now, and they end up losing that game, which I think the Big Ten East champion will probably win that Big Ten championship game. Wisconsin potentially could get to a New Year's Six bowl game, but I think that we see the second place Big Ten East team in the Rose Bowl, and then the champion of the Big Ten, if it is from the East Division, in the college football playoff. But for Wisconsin, I could see them in a New Year's Six bowl game. Probably not the Rose Bowl, if anything, but we'll see what happens. I've got Texas A&M. That's going to be the team that they're facing. This would be a fun matchup here if Wisconsin and Texas A&M played each other. Moving on to your New Year's Six bowl games, we got Oklahoma and Pittsburgh in the Peach Bowl. We got Pittsburgh to win the ACC right now. Wake Forest was just previously in this position, but I think Pittsburgh are more confident in Pitt right now. So I'm going to have them in the Peach Bowl against Oklahoma. The Sooners, we could see Baylor potentially in this position if we do see Oklahoma lose later on, but I do think as of right now, I'm going to put Oklahoma in a New Year's Six bowl game against Pitt. On to the Fiesta Bowl, we got Michigan and Notre Dame. Notre Dame's looking good. I'm pretty confident Notre Dame gets put in the Fiesta Bowl. They should win out, and if they do win out, they're 12-0. Notre Dame should easily be in a New Year's Six bowl game. I mean, I'm not ruling out that they couldn't get to the college football playoff. I mean, potentially they could crack the top four, but it seems unlikely to me right now. I could see them at number 5 or number 6 if we see a lot of upsets happen, but I do think it's kind of unlikely that we see Notre Dame in the college football playoff, especially considering, actually, Notre Dame, they did lose. I take that back. They did lose to Cincinnati, and so Cincinnati is definitely the more likely team between Cincinnati and Notre Dame to get to the playoffs. So for Notre Dame, I'm pretty confident that we see them in a New Year's Six bowl game, though. I'm going to put them in the Fiesta Bowl against Michigan this week. Michigan is going to be, I believe, the third place team right now in the Big Ten East. I've got Michigan State as number 2 team, and Michigan has the number 3 team in the Big Ten East, which will land Michigan in the Fiesta Bowl. We also could see Wisconsin potentially in the Fiesta Bowl as well, so you never know. I mean, a lot of things can happen here. We got Sugar Bowl, Alabama and Oklahoma State. It's been this matchup for the past 3 weeks for me. Oklahoma State, I've got them in the Sugar Bowl potentially. I mean, Oklahoma State definitely, I think, should have a good chance to make it to the New Year's Six bowl game, especially considering I have them projected out to win the Big 12 right now. So Oklahoma State in the Sugar Bowl, I think, really makes sense, and Alabama being in their position. I do have Alabama losing to Georgia in the SEC Championship, and if they do lose in the SEC Championship game, they should not be in the college football playoff, if you ask me, because that's a 2-loss Alabama team, and I'd rather put in an undefeated Cincinnati team over Alabama. But you never know with the committee. We could see a lot of things happen, but I've got Alabama in the Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma State. This would be a fun game if it were to happen. Moving on to the Rose Bowl, Utah and Michigan State. I've got Oregon currently in the college football playoff, which I'm starting to question putting Oregon in the college football playoff this week. The more I think about that matchup between Oregon and Utah, that Oregon-Utah matchup is going to be very interesting this weekend. It's a night game in Utah. Thing is here is that, I mean, both teams are basically mirror images of each other. If you watch my preview on Utah and Oregon, both teams are almost identical statistically, and I think if Utah is very capable of winning that game, but I mean, that's the thing here is if Utah wins that game, that actually lowers their chances of getting to the Rose Bowl, because that would open up that position to Oregon more easily. And if Oregon wins the Pac-12, well, they go to the Rose Bowl instead of the college football playoff. So lots of factors in that game tomorrow night in the Rose Bowl, so definitely something to watch out for there. But as of right now, I'm going to put Utah in the Rose Bowl against Michigan State. Spartans, we got them as the number 2 team in the Big Ten East. Could potentially be Michigan in this game as well. We'll have to see what happens here down the stretch, or even Wisconsin maybe, the runner-up in the Big Ten. But I just don't think Wisconsin, a 3-loss football team, when they get to bowl season, would be putting the Rose Bowl over Michigan State or Michigan per se. Moving on to the college football playoff games. First one is Ohio State and Oregon in the Cotton Bowl. We got the Buckeyes at number 2, Oregon at number 3. Once again, this could easily change next week if Oregon does lose to Utah, which is once again very possible, just depending on whether or not Utah wants to win that game, because once again, it would lower their chances of making the Rose Bowl for Utah, and also it wouldn't make the Pac-12 look as good because it would fully eliminate the Pac-12 from the playoff. But I do have Oregon win that game right now. I've got them playing Ohio State. Ohio State Buckeyes, I think number 2 is very reasonable for them. I've got them as the Big Ten champion. We'll see what happens. Once again, we could see, I do think we see a Big Ten team in the playoff for sure. Just a matter of whether it's Ohio State, Michigan State, or Michigan. We'll see. But right now, I'm going to go with Ohio State at number 2 against Oregon, which is number 3. And then lastly, Georgia's number 1 easily. That was a no-brainer. And Cincinnati is my number 4. I do think Cincinnati sneaks in there if they win out. If they do take a loss, though, Cincinnati's out of the picture, and that potentially makes it tougher on Notre Dame to get to a New Year's Six bowl game. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I've got Georgia and Cincinnati then in the Orange Bowl and the other college football playoff semifinal. I do think Georgia would probably knock out Cincinnati pretty significantly in this game if it were to happen, but once again, you never know. It's the 2021 college football season, and really anything can happen. But anyway, that being said, that wraps it up for today for my bowl projections. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on these bowl projections, and I appreciate you guys all watching. As always, stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.